Hello, today we're going to be grossing this Mohs first stage layer right here, and the way we're going to be grossing it is whole mounts like the standard first stage in the top left corner up here, and so we're going to have the epidermis surround the corner and we're going to ink it according to that hue. So my surgeon usually gives me the specimens with 4 very slight nicks already in the tissue at the 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock mark. And so something that I usually do is I kind of widen those scores accordingly. And so I like to more so focus on widening the pointier ends if it's more like an oval shape. I have to decide pretty quickly how I'm going to orient the specimen, and I usually want to make it more tall rather than wide, and uh, place it so that the more straighter, more pointier side, I guess, so that less epidermis hits the blade. Another thing you can see I'm doing right here is I'm doing a very superficial cross between 12 and 6, and then I'm going to do the same thing again between 3 and 9. Just a superficial cross. I'm not cutting through the specimen, I'm not bisecting it, but this does help break some of the tension, and I feel like the end product is going to be like 4 quadrants of epidermis around the outside with the necks. And by the way, I have it sitting on a piece of filter paper right now. I kind of like the filter paper. I feel like it holds the tissue down pretty well for me to cut through it, and it has some saline on it that prevents it from getting stuck to the paper and helps keep the tissue hydrated. We definitely want to keep it hydrated. We do not want it to dry out. Absolutely not. So I'm kind of holding this little strip of epidermis over here in place with my left hand with the forceps, and I'm just kind of scoring through horizontally through the piece of epidermis. And if you can see, I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit. I'm making a second cut now. So I've done one at the top to break some tension in there. That was maybe a little more diagonal of an angle. Then the second one and the third one, I really want to keep that blade horizontal. We don't want to cut through the tissue. So now in this edge that's facing the camera, I've done 3 cuts here. And for the thickness, I feel like that's not too bad. Might not have necessarily even been fully necessary, but I feel like 3 cuts usually does me really good. So now I'm doing the same thing in the next quadrant, you can call it, of this specimen, and I went through the more top part of it already. I went through the middle, and now this is my third cut, closer to the bottom. I feel like you really want to leave a thin strip of epidermis. The thinner it is, the more easier it's going to be to manipulate it and to stretch it out. And by all means, you do want to stretch out the specimen. You do not want it to be compressed. You want to avoid that as much as possible. So that was like the second one, and now those 2 that I did are facing the camera. And if you look, so this blue dot that you see here, that's my 12 o'clock marking, by the way. That helps me maintain orientation. And you can see on the left side, opposite of where I'm cutting right now, where I'm on my second relaxed cut on that side, on the left side you can see how well that epidermis is laying down, nice and flat, and it's looking a little bit more stretched out too, and you can see there's just a little bit of curve to it. When you're laying the epidermis down, it likes to have a little bit of curve to it. That helps it lay down a little bit better. This one's looking pretty good too. It didn't go as thin as the last one, and so you can see what I'm getting at a little bit better. You can see how I cut horizontally into the epidermis to relax it. And so in that bottom cut, I probably went a little bit deeper horizontally. And like I said, there's a middle cut, and then on the top cut, I'm going just a little bit on more of an angle. I suppose you do have to be careful to not cut through the tissue, and so you have to kind of be mindful when you're holding the epidermal strip in place. Are you lifting up the tissue in other areas? Like, you have to be mindful of that tension so you don't accidentally cut through the tissue. And if you do, it's not the end of the world, but we want to avoid that. And now look how nicely that sits down and spreads out. And so you can see you've kind of got like four separate pieces of epidermis there, and so I think I'm going to have the blade hit the 6 o'clock mark. So my blade right now, my scalpel blade is around the 12 o'clock, and the 6 o'clock is the other side from that blue dot, and I think that's the side I'm going to have hit the blade first, because you want to have it more taller than wide. So that looks good, that looks beautiful. So now I think it can go ahead and put my inks on. Every surgeon has their own inking key. This is how my surgeon likes to have the inks done: green, blue, black, orange, from 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. And so don't mind me just putting ink in the four nicks right now. Those nicks, as you can see, are both there to maintain orientation, which is why the surgeon puts them there. I like to widen them a little bit because I feel like it helps break the tension really well. Especially at the points, like I had said, I feel like those ones you want to have a little bit wider. And then at the blue there, you can see, I think closer to the camera, uh, those two pieces of epidermis are just about touching. That's how you want them to be. I feel like that's how you avoid roll up. So now I'm going to start the embedding process. So before I freeze the tissue, what I like to do is lay it down on a glass slide. But before I put the tissue on that slide, it's hard to see it. But what I did was I put just a dot of my OCT medium on the slide, and I smeared it around with this cotton swab applicator with the back of it, and I smeared it like really strongly. I just want it to be a very, very thin coating. I call it priming the slide, like very, very thin, like almost completely smeared away. I feel like that works well for me, and it helps just a little bit to protect the tissue from ripping out when we break the slide off of it. And so here it is under the microscope. There's the black neck, there's the blue one, that should be green, it's kind of hard to see it, and orange. You can see there's like a strip of epidermis surrounding the perimeter of the section. Pardon me, I'm recording this from my phone. And in case you're wondering, this is what my H&E protocol looks like.